welcome to round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motor. And we are in sunny Queensland at the 3.12 kilometre short, sharp circuit where the complexity is in the simplicity of this track. Yep, it's Queensland Raceway, and with me now is ASBK champ and World Endurance champ Steve Martin. Steve, we are back at the paperclip, and this place holds some very fond racing memories for you.
Well, a long time ago I was on the podium here, Kate, but since those days coming here, I'm just like flabbergasted. I mean, the place has changed so much. The infrastructure, the pride that the owners have got in this circuit, it's amazing. And let's not forget that this circuit creates some of the closest racing, not only in Australia, but the world.
Now, we're coming off the back of Sydney Motorsport Park, and it's been an almost perfect first 2 rounds of the season for championship leader Josh Waters. Who can catch him and how can they do it?
Well, yeah, Josh Waters, what a run he's had so far. 5 straight wins, an incredible run. People are saying that he's impossible to beat, but there's been a few chinks in the armour here. Things haven't gone his own way. There are a number of guys that are going to try and have his scalp this weekend. Well,
Yamaha racing team Mike Jones, it's a bit of a local track for him here, but this is the location where he turned his championship around last year. Can he do it again?
Well, it was certainly a turning point for him here last year. He dominated last year, and he's been building. I've been watching him throughout practice, and to be honest, he's building to something a little bit special here. Let's wait and see.
Well, let's take a look at championship points. Sitting in P1 is McMartin Racing's with Godzinger Josh Waters with a handy lead of 35 points, followed by a confident-looking Troy Herfoss on the Penrite Honda, and in P3, GT Racing's Glenn Allerton. Let's take a look at Saturday's Superbike qualifying, where we were served up a new qualifying record in not quite perfect conditions, but that didn't slow down Troy Herfoss, who sits in pole position, a good spot to be in at a track where passing is difficult.
Well, Queensland Raceway, as we said, always produces close racing action. We've already seen graphic demonstration of that already this morning in the Michelin Supersport category, but we are getting ready now for the Alpine Stars Superbikes. Race number 1, Troy Herfoss will start from pole position. Mike Jones and Crew Halliday, the Yamaha teammates, join him on the front row of the grid, with championship leader Josh Waters, Max Stouffer and Glenn Allerton making up row 2.
Row 3, Ted Collins, Brock Pearson and Brian Starr, and keep an eye on him. All of those guys have been fast this weekend. Anthony West is back, so is Matt Waters on that new Aprilia. Paris Hardwick round out row 4, and your final row 5 is Scott Alars, Michael Edwards and the South Australian Michael Kemp.
Of course, no Arthur CC's this weekend, out with that wrist injury. Get well, Arthur, and we'll hopefully see you at the next round in Darwin on board the Unitech machine. But Troy Herfoss has looked dangerous all weekend. He's had a smile on his face all weekend, and a smiling Troy Herfoss, Steve, is a very dangerous Troy Herfoss, especially that's what his competitors know as well. Qualified with a new best qualifying lap here at Queensland Raceway, pipping the previous time of Mike Jones. We get ready to go racing for the Alpine Stars Superbike category. 2 bikes are go. Great start there from the middle of the front row of the grid with Jones, but Herfoss will try and go around the outside. Max Stouffer's coming up the inside, but it is bike number 1, the reigning champion, Mike Jones, on board the YRT machine. The local man leads them through turn 1 for the first time. Herfoss will slip into his slipstream, and Josh Waters has got up into 3rd position. Allerton's got that great start he wanted. He's sitting there in 4th, right in the slipstream of the McMartin Racing Ducati.
Yep, almost the perfect start for the contenders of this one, and it is Mike Jones who leads, but up the inside has a bit of a look already. Troy Herfoss on the Penrite Honda.
Yeah, Crew Halliday on a big move there, pushed Max Stouffer wide as they came down into AWMF corner for the first time. Stouffer's dropped back to 5th position now as I think they come up towards turn 4. Can Max come back on the brakes? Is that Crew Halliday having another big look up the inside? He's run a fraction wide. He went up, it was Glenn Allerton, I think, that went up the inside of Josh Waters and then ran wide as Crew Halliday was trying to go up the inside of both of them. So the action has started early, and none of them have taken notice of Gary Crilly. They're not taking it easy on the left-hand side of the tyre.
Yeah, not yet, that's for sure. But Crew Halliday probably not with the start that he wanted from the front row of the grid, up in 5th position at the moment. Max Stouffer hanging in behind that group too. This is going to be a good learning race for him.
Well, Herfoss is going with Jones as he tries to make a break at the front. There's only a fraction between them on their lap time in that first lap. Half a second back to Josh Waters on the first lap now as the gap has opened up. So 0.7 is the gap between Josh Waters in third place and our race leader, Mike Jones, on board bike number 1. Herfoss is riding his slipstream, and this is great to see these two coming in here. We went over there and had a look on Friday afternoon, Steve, and both of these two are so impressive into that corner, but so is Glenn Allison. Look at the distance he manages to haul back on board the GT Racing Spectro Performance Oils BMW.
Brave move by Allison that made a change to the bike and didn't get to try it in morning warm-up, went for it, tried it on the warm-up lap, and I'll tell you what, whatever they've done seems to be working because he's right in that third position at the moment behind Josh Waters.
You can see that Jones and Herfoss just get a little bit of a run out of turn 5, the Yamaha Financial Services corner, and down towards Ducati corner as...
Waters is wide.
Well, he's made a big lunge on the brakes there as Waters and Crew Halliday said, thank you very much, I'll come through. He was on the tight line as Waters ran a little bit wide, but Waters will get the good square off there and get good drive out onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight. Couldn't get back that position as Crew Halliday has a very fast entry into Alpine Stars corner, turn 1.
Fastest man on track, 1:08.0, Glenn Allerton. What a lap for him. He is on an absolute mission at the moment.
That's about 0.2 of a second off the existing lap record held by Brian Starring, set last year on the Ducati V4R, the Desmo Sport Ducati. And Allerton is on a charge. He's got the red helmet on. I reckon there's a fair bit of red mist on that visor as well.
Absolutely. Stauffer a little bit wide in the background there, but managing to keep the guys in sight. This is a good race for him. And just behind him is Brian Starring as well. Ted Collins having a good run there too. 2 seconds off the pace at the moment. We've got a faller. That looks like... Is that Brian Starring on the MotoGo machine?
It is definitely a MotoGo Yamaha with Denise Leathers. So yes, it is Brian
down.
Starring on board bike number 67 is down. Unfortunately, a repeat of what happened in race 1 last year, where he went down in race number 1 as well.
I'll tell you what, Jones has got some pace. He's looking pretty smooth out there at the moment. He didn't start off as quick as he had through the weekend. He's been working his way up, and it is Starring as they get him back on the track. That looks like it's off the end of the back straight there, through that Dunlop corner.
Oh, we've got one down.
That's Kemp.
That's Kemp on board 64. He's down. It looks like there's a fair bit of damage to the Yamaha R1.
Yeah, that's a big crash for Kemp.
The marshals there running through the gravel trap to try and pick up Michael Kemp's stricken machine.
Oh, Allerton is slightly wide there, nearly runs into the back of Herfoss. Herfoss just sitting there. He's been the man that has been fast in every session and looking super dangerous. He's on a high with confidence at the moment, probably in the best condition I've seen him in a long, long time. So keep an eye on him. Nice and tight there for him as he sticks to the back wheel. Quicker through there of Mike Jones in front.
You can see Glenn Allerton is also pushing extremely hard on the brakes. We've got another rider off, that Scott Alars on board bike number 31. So a fair bit of attrition early. Crew Halliday has run wide in Ducati corner, turn 6. Pulls it back, and by the time he gets to Pirelli to just hold off the hard-charging Josh Waters on board the McMartin Racing machine, giving that, well, a hard effort there from Crew Halliday. Waters just couldn't quite come back at him as they make their way down through turn 1. It's going to be very interesting to see on the AMX Superstores replay that incident there. That was the one where we saw Brian Starring go down on the entry into AMF corner. There is, I think that was Kemp.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That's at the final corner. That's Ducati corner, the entry into turn 6.
Yeah, something strange there. He missed the braking marker or something, or some sort of issue. But anyway, he's up and he's okay.
On the last lap, both Mike Jones and Troy Herfoss set their fastest laps of the race. They were only 4 1/1000ths of a second apart. The top speed differential, 271 for Mike Jones, 275 Troy Herfoss, and 272 for Glenn Allerton, who was 0.2 of a second behind. And you can see that on track now, Steve, as they make their way down towards Ducati corner. Allerton has just dropped off a fraction. He's going to have to try and claw that back on the back straight, and also on the brakes down in towards AMF corner. Quick update from Kate.
Yeah, as we can see with Glenn Allerton, those changes are working. Our track showing the fastest he has gone all weekend.
Yeah, it's good to see Allerton with that, you know, he's in the 108.5s, but Jones has just done the first 7 of the race, a 107.9 now, so Jones is really starting to find his comfort level. He's got a half a second lead over Herfoss.
Now look at Maxi Stouffer sitting there in 6th position behind 5 legends of the sport here in Australia, and the young man in only his 2nd year of Superbike racing is sitting there in 6th position. There he is on board bike number 27, the GTR's Motorstars machine. So we've got Mike Jones leading by 0.5 of a second over Troy Herfoss. Allerton is just on 1 second behind. Looks like Crew Halliday is making a bit of a lunge towards the back of Allerton's machine as well as they came down in towards Honda Corner. Crew Halliday is the one that's looking very dangerous at the moment. It looks like he's closing in on Allerton. Crew Halliday is also good on the brakes. And these two, they don't live too far apart, but they're not the best of friends, and they're certainly not on each other's Christmas cards list. They've had plenty of comings together. I think one of them last year, Steve Martin, was at this, in fact, this actual track.
Well, the problem for Crew Halliday at the moment is if you have a look at it, Allerton's actually brakes later than him, so it's going to be very, very hard for him to pass around this circuit. He's going to have to make some sort of big move, but just looking into that final corner a few corners ago, Allerton was so late on the brakes, and he jammed the brakes on, leaving Crew nowhere to go. So Crew's going to have a massive dive, and I think that he's tried it a couple of times, which is why we've seen him run wide.
Still the fastest man in this race is Mike Jones with a 107.985. Not challenging the lap record held by Brian Starring of a 107.865.
Up the inside goes Halliday. Do it that way.
That was, you run a fraction wide on the brakes, and Halliday will jam it up the inside. Looks like he can stop and turn that Yamaha extremely well on the brakes. Let's see what Crew Halliday can do now with a bit of clear air in front of him. And Glenn Allerton has now got the attentions of Josh Waters all over the back of the GT Racing Spectra Performance Oils BMW M1000RR. Here comes Waters up the inside. Can't quite get through on the brakes, can he? Yes, he can.
Not much room there.
Slides the McMartin Racing machine up the inside.
Gotzinger, a new sponsor on board for them this weekend too, so it's good to see that supporting this the team at the Queensland Raceway here. So Max Stouffer is trying to close in now and make sure he stays with these riders. He's been lapping at about the same sort of lap times as we have a look at the AMX Superstores replay. You can see Allerton. He runs a couple of foot wide there at the apex of AWMF corner, and Crew Halliday, who's able to stop and turn that Yamaha seemingly on a dime straight up the inside and gets great drive down towards Honda Corner. And then Josh Waters does the same thing to Allerton at the next corner. Allerton was a fraction wide on the run-in. Waters just slid the McMartin Racing V4R up the inside and took up the running in 4th position. The 2 leaders out front now with a nice gap. Troy Herfoss now with a 107.9, catches up a couple of tenths and is right on the back wheel of Mike Jones.
Yeah, 11 thousandths of a second faster than Mike Jones's previous best lap. And what that's done is managed to put him right back onto the tail of the reigning champion and double race victor last year here at Queensland Raceway. So as they make their way out of Pirelli and down towards turn 4, the Honda of Herfoss is closing in. Quick update from Kate.
Just got Scott Fisher, the Yamaha Motorsport manager. Scott, tell us, can Mike Jones hang on to this lead? Is he happy with setup? Is he confident?
Oh, look, I think yesterday's speed gave me a bit of confidence. So at the moment right now, it's an intense race, an intense track, so he needs to stay focused and keep doing his job, because there's no easy laps here, there's no lazy laps. So as long as he keeps his mind on the job and keeps pushing forward, I think he'll be okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
He's certainly pushing, because you can see there on the run into AWMF corner, Mike Jones's back wheel was coming off the ground as he was so late on the brakes, because he knows he's got one of the latest breakers in the business in Troy Herfoss on the Penrite Honda right on his tail. As they come through Honda corner now, the gap is down to 0.1 of a second between these two, but importantly for them, the gap back to Crew Halliday is over 2.5 seconds, and Crew Halliday has just managed to extricate himself from Josh Waters and Glenn Allerton as well, so he doesn't have to worry about them coming up the insides. He can take the good lines and hopefully try and close down our race leaders. But it's a big ask, Steve, because we're starting lap 10 now of the 16-lap journey.
And here we go. Herfoss has lined him up, looking up the inside into turn 1. Can't quite do it there, but this is the closest that we've seen Herfoss. Herfoss seems to be able to take slightly tighter lines in the middle of the corner at the moment, to not running quite as wide as Jones.
Well, was that just a full dress rehearsal for the main show that's maybe going to come in a lap or two's time?
Well, I don't know about that. Look how close he is now as they head down that straight. The Yamaha's got some decent top-end mumbo.
Yeah, the Honda's not slow either. The top speed between them on the last lap was only 1 kilometre an hour different. And that was 1 kilometre an hour in favour of Troy Herfoss's Honda CBR 1000 RRR SP. as they come down the back straight. Now, they're going to start coming into some lap traffic. Just having a look who that is. I think that might be Michael Kemp. Oh, no, maybe Scott Allars and Brian Starring. Both of those riders having crashed already in this race.
Yeah, it'll be good to see how Troy Herfoss plays this one, because he's had a good look at Mike Jones now. He knows where he's tough to get past, and he knows where his weak points are. But Jones, he doesn't look like he's got too many weak points. He nearly ran off the track there, which would have given him an opportunity, but he didn't. In the traffic, that could be it. Scott Allars just ahead now. What's going to happen here? He should move to the side and let them both through.
So we're on the 10th lap now, sorry, on the 11th lap now. We have Mike Jones, Troy Herfoss, and third place, Crew Halliday. Herfoss making a big lunge now for the lead. He goes into the lead at turn 3. Down the inside of Mike Jones on the 8th corner. He's run wide. Jones comes back on the inside. The full dress rehearsal has already started, Steve. And Mike Jones knows that the show is going to be an absolute ripper towards the end of this race. Can Herfoss come back at Honda corner? He pulls up just a little bit behind Jones as they come through Honda now and through this, double apex corner. It's 2 corners, but they take it as one big one with a double apex. And now out through Yamaha Financial Services and down towards the Ducati corner.
Well, with Herfoss doing that now, with 5 laps to go, it means that he thinks he's got more pace to get past. So he will now attack and try and make it stick next time through. He's got to keep going with that one. Look on the AMX replay. Perfect drive out, hard on the brakes, runs in just slightly too deep. Look at the front here, a bit of a bobble, manages to hold it together. Jones turns perfectly tight, gets on the gas on the way out, block passes him back, and retains that lead. But Herfoss has had a bit of a look now, and he knows what he needs to do.
Well, we've always commented about the fitness of these two guys as well, haven't we? About the amount of cycling that they do, that Troy Herfoss has been doing always a lot of cycling. As he comes back down the inside, same place, same bat time, same bat channels, runs a fraction wide again. Jones comes back on the inside, but Herfoss is on the outside. Couldn't quite get the same acceleration as he did last time, and Jones back into the lead. But this time, the difference, Steve, is that Troy Herfoss coming back down the inside of Honda corner. He's been doing a lot of riding on the motocross bike, and that's coming to the core now because Jones back on the inside. What a move from Mike Jones. There was no room to get a Yamaha R1 through there, but Mike Jones managed to do it.
Well, of course, the person that wins this race will be the only person other than Josh Waters to win a race this year. So it's a pretty important for these guys to get that 25 points.
Well, and the other thing is that it will be Mike Jones' third win at Queensland Raceway, but unbelievably, it would be Troy Herfoss' first ever win at this circuit. That's a stat that I couldn't believe coming into this weekend. He's had so many great performances around here, but he has never taken a race win in an ASBK race at Queensland Raceway, and he's looking to correct that anomaly this weekend.
And he's doing a good job too. Nice drive there, but Jones cuts him off. He's going to sit there for a minute. He's just got to try and figure out how he can make that pass stick without running wide, because obviously Jones has got that edge grip and he drives back up the inside. Of course, the Yamaha has got that good bottom end grunt with that cross-plane crank engine compared to the Screamer Honda that's got plenty of top end.
Well, the other thing is, though, too, that you can try and pressure Mike Jones into a mistake, as we can see here on the AMX Superstores replay. He goes down the inside, but Jones has got the impeccable line on the inside. Herfoss runs a fraction wide. Jones hits the same mark on the circuit every single lap, and that's the thing for Troy Herfoss. Trying to pressure Jones into a mistake is very hard. He goes again there at turn 4 on the AMX Superstores replay, but Jones comes straight back on the exit of turn 5, Yamaha Financial Services. We're on lap 14 now of the 16 laps scheduled for this first race for the Alpine Stars Superbike category at round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul at Queensland Raceway. And we have got an absolute bell ringer here with Troy Herfoss all over the back of Mike Jones as they come down to Herfoss's favourite overtaking place at AWF corner turn 3. He's up the inside again. Can he hug the apex and not give Jones the advantage back on the inside? Jones turns the bike very, very quickly, right close to the apex, and gets back up the inside of Herfoss.
Well, it's not over yet. He's going to have another go at the inside. But while all this is going on, have a look at Crew Halliday in the background there. He's made up a lot of ground on this lap, and he's not out of this yet.
You don't want to give Crew Halliday a sniff. In fact, on the last lap, he was a 1/10 of a second faster than both Mike Jones and Troy Herfoss. Herfoss back on the inside again. down into Ducati corner, gets the bike stopped and turned, and Jones will have to work very hard to try and get the run out of this corner. I think Herfoss has managed to just get his nose ahead, but Jones has got the better line as they come to the line. We're on lap 15 now, so we're...
Halliday's there.
We're drilling down laps, and Halliday has arrived at the perfect time.
Well, the perfect time for the show, but he wants to be part of this show, and right now he is, because these guys probably won't know that Halliday has closed up that gap. He's closed up a second in one lap. Last time through, Halliday's lap time was a 1:08.2. It was literally 0.8 of a second quicker, and here he goes again.
Herfoss up the inside. Can he get the bikes closer to the apex? He can. There's no room for Jones to turn it back on the inside. Herfoss is in the lead. We know he's good into Honda corner turn 4. And Mike Jones might get a very rude surprise in a second when his teammate Crew Halliday starts making an attempt for second position. Down through Honda we go. There's no way Jones can come back there. Herfoss on the perfect line. Through Yamaha Financial Services and down towards the final corner we go now. It is Herfoss that leads. Fastest lap of the race earlier on in this race on lap 7 at 1:07.942. Jones closes right up on the brakes, so does Halliday.
Yeah, Halliday's looking, he knows that he's got a little bit of extra pace on these guys. They've been burning their mental energy out and their brakes and everything out trying to pass each other. Halliday's caught them up quite easily. He's going to be ruining that start that he got.
Well, here we go, Steve. We have got 5 corners to go. They are safely through Alpine Stars corner, with Troy Herfoss leading Mike Jones. The battle down this long back straight and on the brakes into AWF corner is the one that we've been waiting for. Crew Halliday looks like he may have just lost a tenth of a second or so as they make their way down the long back straight. Jones gets on the brakes. He can't quite get up the inside of Troy Herfoss. The question is, can Herfoss keep a nice tight line and not allow Jones to get back up the inside? The answer is he can. He's on his way now to turn 4 with a very, very small lead over the reigning champion Mike Jones, the man who took 2 race victories here last year. And he's Troy Herfoss on track now to take his first ever Superbike race win at Queensland Raceway.
He's got a bit to do yet. He's got to get through this next left-hand corner. Through Yamaha corner he goes, tucked down into the screen. It's got to come down to the final corner here. Jones looks up the inside, and he's gone through. He's got to run wide.
Herfoss is going to try and turn it in tight. Crew Halliday comes through as well. Jones and Herfoss touch as they come out of Pirelli corner. And I think Herfoss has got the run. Is Jones going to be able to come back? He can't. He just falls a fraction short. And Troy Herfoss takes his first ever Superbike race win at Queensland Raceway. Jones finishes in second. Crew Halliday in third. What a recovery from Halliday. Wow, there's so much to talk about in that race. I can't wait for the Honda highlights.
Yeah, that was fantastic work by Herfoss. He really earned that win. Mike Jones gave him nothing. He struck back at every chance he had. What a win by Troy Herfoss. And Mike Jones, wow, considering he hasn't probably had the year that he expected he was going to have so far this year, good ride from him. Halliday, again, he is a different man this year. If he had got a little bit better start, he would have been right up there in the mix a couple of laps earlier and in with a bigger chance of the win.
Well, and importantly for Troy Herfoss, who sits second in the championship, he claws back very, very good points over Josh Waters, who scored 17 points as opposed to the 25 points that Troy Herfoss just earned himself with victory in the first of our Alpine Stars Superbike races over Mike Jones by 0.0115 of a second. Crew Halliday in third, 0.162 of a second behind. Josh Waters in 4th place on board bike number 21. Allison held out 5th. Max Stover in 6th, Ted Collins in 7th, Brock Pearson in 8th, and Ant West and Matt Walters round out the top 10.
And in P1, Troy Herfoss, a pole, your first win here. You must be feeling excellent because we didn't know who was going to take that win until that last corner. A very exciting race. You are back, you're on fire.
I thought I was never going to get 2019 revenge on Mike, so it's not for a championship, so it's not quite as good, but man, that was so much fun. That's why I've been putting in the hard yards the last few years, and what a great reward for us as a team. Just so much fun. I feel so good physically on the bike, and everything's working for me well. I thrive on them sort of battles, and yeah, you don't like losing them. So I'm just so happy I could claw back some points. You know, I think potentially claws back, 25%. I'll put it that way. The points gap's still a lot, but it was a big step forward in the championship, and I keep saying I want to win a championship this year, and it hasn't looked like I actually have the right to do it, but I hope that's sort of stamping my authority on my choices. So a bit lost for words really, but just super excited, and thanks to the team.
You are going to be dangerous in that next race. Good luck.
I hope so. Thank you.
Well, don't go too far away. Alpine Stars Superbike race coming up straight after this break. Welcome back to Queensland Raceway. We are getting ready for the start of Alpine Stars Superbike Race 2 here at round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships. We knew that Troy Herfoss was going to be strong, but Mike Jones, we knew from the beginning of the weekend, he didn't have the best at the start of the weekend, but knew by Sunday he was going to be in for the race win, and that's exactly what happened. Troy Herfoss, Mike Jones and Crew Halliday will all start from the front row of the grid.
Josh Waters, Max Stauffer, Glenn Allerton, row 2.
Ted Collins, Brock Pearson and Brian Starring on row 3, with Ant West, Matt Walters on the Aprilia again this weekend, starting out this year, and Paris Hardwick on row 4, with Scott Alars, Michael Edwards and Michael Kemp out on row 5 of the grid. You can see Paris Hardwick making his way around there on the BC Performance Kawasaki, and there is Ant West on the Addicted to Track machine, ready to go racing for Alpine Stars Superbike Race 2. Gary Crilly from Pirelli watching on there over the fence as we get ready to go racing. Sam Phillips leaves the front of the grid. Superbikes are go. Great start once again from Troy Herfoss and Mike Jones. And I think that Troy Herfoss may just have enough to get around. No, he doesn't. Mike Jones leads them down through turn 1, and Crew Halliday has got a cracking start, Steve. He's up into turn 3. Anything's going to happen in this race.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a real good start there, and that's exactly where he needed to be. He's back and forth, but he doesn't have guys like Allerton to get past and Max Stauffer, so it is a better start, but he's still got work to do. Yeah,
Allerton's back into 6th position behind Max Stauffer as they make their way down into AWMF corner for the first time. Waters closes right up onto the back. Halliday, someone running wide there. It looked like it was one of the Addicted to Track machines. It was certainly a white bike, but managed to stay on track by the look of it as they make their way down to Honda now. A little bit of a gap for Jones opening up at the front as they come through Honda for the first time. But Josh Waters has got a good start, and Crew Halliday will be determined to try and get the Yamaha past that very, very dominant McMartin Racing V4R as early as possible.
Ted Collins is dropping down through the order a little bit now. He's dropped down to 11, so I think that might have been him that ran wide. Yeah,
the Livson Racing machine is majority white. There he is right there, so that might have been him that run off. He's behind Matt Walters on board the RSV4 Aprilia, the Moto Connection machine.
Mike Jones with a pretty impressive first lap. A 1:12.7 for a standing start around this circuit is quick.
So let's see what they can do on this first flying lap. Waters is looking a little bit more composed early on in this race than he did in race number 1.
I'll tell you, the conditions are slightly different out there than what we had earlier on. The sun is like really low in the sky now, and it's got to be affecting these guys' vision in the braking area. Well,
the shadows will be a bit longer, and the track may be a little bit cooler as well. How's that going to affect the tyres? Although tyres aren't really the issue here this weekend. It is brakes that everyone talks about at Queensland Raceway. It's like in MotoGP, it's Motegi that causes brake issues for all of the bikes. In the ASBK, it is Queensland Raceway that puts the most stress on the front end of those machines.
Managed to get a word in. Paris Hardwick's gone down there. Perhaps that is a braking issue. We can just see him, unfortunately.
There was another bike in the gravel trap there as well. It looks like it could be Scott Alars on board bike number 31. Both of those riders have moved back to the back of the field.
The start is under investigation too, so it looks like somebody possibly has jumped the start. We'll keep an eye on that. But I managed to speak to Brian Starring in between the races, Phil, and the problem that he had in race 1 was that he ran out of brakes. He really ran out of brakes. So they put new brake pads in. They've changed the oil. They've been looking at everything to try and keep him out on track and get through this one.
Well, the good news for Brian Starring is he's just moved up into 6th position, getting the better of Max Stauffer on that last lap. As Herfoss late and deep on the brakes with the big leg dangle down into AWMF corner. Josh Waters looking very good in P3 at the moment. Crew Halliday can't even get right up onto the back of the McMartin Racing Gotzinger Ducati V4R as they make their way down in towards turn 3. So Halliday will be desperate to try and find a way past as quickly as possible, although while the lead group is relatively close, it's not as much of an issue for Crew Halliday. If they start to spread out, then it's an issue.
Well, absolutely. He wants to win this one bad, but I mean, to try and get past that Ducati of Josh Waters is it's hard work. I mean, it's fast. He can pick it up and twist that throttle, and away he goes. But, you know, we know he can do it. He knows he can do it. But, you know, he just does need to get better starts from the front row of the grid. You need to be in that top 3. You can't always fall back. I can't remember Crew making a step forward from the start.
Well, Glenn Allerton is still only 1.3 seconds behind the race leader, sitting back there in 5th position at the moment. You can see the GT Racing Spectro Performance Oils BMW just hanging on to the back of Crew Halliday's machine. But as always, Glenn Allerton closes right up on the brakes. Then you've got a little 3. Oh, no, that's one going down.
That's Pearson.
That's Brock Pearson on board the Desmo Sport Ducati.
Yeah.
Turn 3 has caught the local man, the real estate agent from Brisbane, out.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the end of Pearson's race in Desmo Sport Ducati. He went so well in race 1. He had good pace, just didn't qualify where they need to qualify. If they can find some qualifying speed, I think, you know, that team, the Desmo Sport Ducati team, are going to be one to watch later this year.
Pearson's got it going again, Steve, so back on track. So let's hope he can make it all the way to the finish. Will pick up some points if he can circulate around and finish in 13th position, but it's still Jones, Herfoss, Waters, Halliday and Allerton.
Well, the lap times are actually slower than they were earlier on in the day. 1:08.5 so far is the fastest lap by Mike Jones. The fastest man on track last time through was Crew Halliday with a 1:08.3. So Halliday with something to prove, but...
and that 1:08.3 is actually the fastest lap of the race as well, too.
It is.
As Herfoss up the inside of Jones.
Where is Halliday still there? Yep, OK, the shenanigans are starting between these guys now, and that is going to slow them down even more.
And it's very early in the race, because we saw until much later in the race for Herfoss to start making moves on Mike Jones, but we've gone for our first move on lap 5 of the 16-lap race. Jones back to 2nd. Waters in there in 3rd place. The thing they don't want to do is they don't want to start carving each other up and invite Josh Waters to this party.
Well, Josh Waters has already joined the party. He couldn't stay with these guys earlier on today, but the pace now at 1:08 mids, they were doing like 1:08 flat earlier, so they're half a second a lap slower, and Waters is saying thank you very much. You just see there on the brakes on the AMX replay, up the inside goes the Honda man, and runs wide, but manages to turn it back on the dime, gets on the gas and dives up the inside, more power, slipstreams and back to the lead for Troy Herfoss.
Well, that's what we saw happen plenty of times in race 1, wasn't it, Steve? That Herfoss would get in there deep and late, Jones would turn the bike and then just get the better run out of the corner and down towards Honda, but not the case on that occasion. Herfoss was able to maintain that lead, even though Jones got momentarily back ahead again. And Josh Waters still sitting there in 3rd. Then it's Crew Halliday and Glenn Allerton. Quick update from Kate.
Yeah, just an update from Josh Waters' team. He's struggling around turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, braking to turn. So they're kind of just in damage control due to the aggressive nature of this circuit.
I think it's an indication of how the season's been for that team when they're in damage control and sitting in 3rd place, right on the back of 2nd place, and could possibly challenge for the race win.
Well, anything can happen in this with these guys. I mean, like we've seen what Troy Herfoss and Mike Jones are willing to do to each other in race 1. Corner for corner, they were going at it. One bike just on the side there, heading down the straight, moving well out of the way. Not sure who that was.
That might have been Brock Pearson.
Okay, yeah, he's just still circulating. I mean, it's good for him to circulate around if he can, try and get some feel. Look at the bikes moving around as they head through that fastest corner on this track. Michelin corner, down the straight they go, speeds of up to 280 kilometres an hour before they hit the brakes. It's real difficult to judge your braking into this. You pick a spot, but you've got to be so accurate. You can't afford to make a mistake.
Well, Allerton's still just hanging on. He's got white knuckles. He's trying to hang on that desperately to the back of Crew Halliday's machine. It has been a pretty sensational debut for the GT racing team last round at Sydney Motorsport Park, and here once again at Queensland Raceway. Brand new team. Glenn Allerton, of course, a very experienced campaigner, coming into this round, had more wins than anyone else on a superbike at Queensland Raceway.
Looks like Herfoss is... He's definitely not pulling away like I think he thought he might. That group is still quite tight.
Well, and Josh Waters' bike looks to jump out of the corner very well, but then it's Mike Jones and Crew Halliday that seem to be able to run into the corner just that fraction better on board the Yamahas. And Crew Halliday is looking
Well,
like he's a little bit closer to Josh Waters now that he may be trying to line up and overtake. Of course, down this back straight here is where it's going to be very difficult for Crew to try and match the speed of the Ducati, but once they get to the braking area, he can run in there very, very deep, we saw in race 1.
You've got 3 completely different types of motorcycles here. You've got the Honda, which is leading, which is a medium frame, like it's not super stiff, but it's not soft in the frame, so it gets decent grip, but it's got a screamer inline 4-cylinder engine. You've got the Yamaha there that's got notoriously a soft frame, so it actually handles really well. There's Brock Pearson coming in, and then you've got the Ducati, which is a derivative of a MotoGP bike that's super stiff, and you feel every bump when you ride that bike, so it does take a little bit of setting up.
You can see Jones had run into Ducati corner there very, very late on the brakes, and it closed right up on the back of Troy Herfoss. Herfoss carried good mid-corner speed, but then was also able to get a great drive out onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight.
Well, did you see how much Jones was like sliding around out of there too? Like he was getting a lot of wheel spin for so early in the race.
And not something we usually associate with Mike Jones than the way he rides.
And there you go again. He's getting a little bit of wheel spin and that pumping from the rear shock there. So when that happens, it doesn't feel very comfortable to ride, I can tell you.
And Mike Jones is usually one of those riders that's Jorge Lorenzo-esque, you would say. It's smooth.
Super smooth.
And silky in his riding style, but the bike really starting to move around a bit there. In comparison, Josh Waters' V4R, prepared by McMartin Racing, is looking pretty composed at the moment, and Crew Halliday is looking pretty smooth, but desperate to try and find his way past Josh Waters. Kate?
Got Troy Bayliss here, co-owner of Desmo Sport Ducati. Brock just had a bit of an off, but tell us about the process of mentoring a young rider like this. There's still so much for him to learn.
Yeah, Brock's definitely got a little bit to learn, but it's been a good little bit of a progress. He's been making some good steps. Okay, today's been a little bit unlucky, and I'm sure he's going to be a bit frustrated, but you know, this is racing, these things happen. It happens to the best of people, and we should move on from here and try to at least he can go out and get a few laps in and try and regain a bit of confidence. It's not ideal, but it's what you do, and I'm sure he's going to be okay.
Thanks, Troy.
Thank you, guys.
Great to see Troy Bayliss, as always, down in the paddock supporting the team, as we see Paris Hardwick has had his second run-off in this race.
Yeah, who said being a team owner was going to be easy? Hey, you got to, you take the falls with the rider as well. So, it's a tough sport, that's for sure, but it's good to see Bayliss supporting those younger guys, bringing through that young talent.
Well, on the AMX Superstores replay, you can see there, that's the incident that saw Paris Hardwick run off the track for the second time in this race.
That's through turn 1 here, the Alpine Stars corner 2. That's a pretty fast entry. It looked like he lost the front end going into there, managed to let go of the brake and save it, but yeah, he would have been glad that he didn't dump it there.
Well, there is a little bit of an undulation heading into the corner there, as you can see. Yeah. Jones and Herfoss just run over it. That does upset the bike a fraction, and been a very difficult introduction for Paris Hardwick to the circuit that looks so simple on paper, but as everyone says, it's a hard circuit to try and find any time on, because there's only 6 corners, and a lot of them are similar, but they're all very different at the same time, and that was clearly highlighted in your track preview, and Troy Herfoss explaining some of the corners as well. As we look now, it looks like Jones and Herfoss have just managed to get away from Josh Waters a fraction. This is the time now that Crew Halliday definitely needs to try and find his way past if he's going to be any chance of taking out a race win in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he may have left it too late, even if he had anything. I think that he would have been trying desperately to get past Waters. I mean, obviously that Waters the team, like they're so good. They would have improved the bike from the last time out. So it's just going to make it more difficult for Crew. He's got that mid-corner speed, but when he gets upright, he's got the acceleration initially out of the corner, but then once that Ducati winds up, not much that Crew Halliday can do about it. He's going to have to do something pretty special, but the special riders in this one at the moment are Herfoss and Jones. They're 1 to 2 tenths quicker per lap than Waters and Halliday behind him.
Well, down the back straight we go. Here comes Crew Halliday. Has he got enough run on Josh Waters to try and make a lunge on the brakes? He's closing in, but not quite. Can he set up a good drive out of AMMF corner through Dunlop and down towards Honda? Crew Halliday now looking like he's in a position at Honda. He could put a pass on Waters as they come down to this first of the left-hand corners on this circuit. Can't quite get past here. He's going to have to try and definitely get past at turn 6. We are running out of laps. We're coming round to complete lap 12 now. There is only 4 more laps to go, and if Crew Halliday has any chance of bringing back that distance between Waters and second place Mike Jones, he has to do it now as Jones takes the tight line, but Herfoss with that unusual wide line once again, Steve, getting great drive out of the corner, and Jones has no match for the Penrite Honda in acceleration down towards the start-finish line. That could be important on the last lap.
Look, Jones is trying everything that he can at the moment, not probably necessarily trying to get past him because he knows what's going to happen. I mean, Herfoss is going to strike back. But it's a good opportunity for Jones now to have a good look and try and figure out in his head where he can attack. And I think that what he was doing there was going, okay, I can keep the speed on a tight line through the final curve. So that's an opportunity. You know, that's what he needs to be doing. He needs to be looking now to find out where on the track he's stronger than Troy, because Troy has been so dominant this weekend so far.
Well, Troy Herfoss commented in his post-race interview that the race 1 win over Mike Jones was some sort of redemption for 2019, where they battled for the championship at Sydney Motorsport Park, and Jones got the better of him. He's pretty sure he's not going to let Jones come through. There goes Jones through a little bit of a touch there as they come through the Ducati corner, coming round to complete 13 laps. So 3 laps to go. Jones back into the lead. Has Herfoss got an answer?
Well, 108.6 last time through for Mike Jones, 108.9 for Herfoss. So Herfoss was starting to lose 1 or 2 tenths. Let's see what Jones can do now. It's a lot easier to follow around this circuit than it is to pass. And look at Herfoss. He's right on the back wheel. I think that he had something a little bit left, so we'll see now. On the brakes he goes in the AMX replay. Up the inside, no room there. Look at that, just inches. But he makes his way through. Herfoss a little bit wide, clean move.
It's impossible to try and turn that Penrite Honda in when you've got a Yamaha YZF R1M holding down the inside line.
Well, talk about the inside line. It's Herfoss on the inside now, goes on the brakes and makes the pass into Honda corner on his Honda.
Yep, and that's the pass that Troy Herfoss told us about in the track preview, where he said that if you've got your bike set up well, you can make a pass into that corner and then hold the corner speed through. Jones has a bit of a look once they come down to Ducati corner once again. The start of this final corner. Well, Crew Halliday is past Josh Waters. He's got a lot of work to do. I don't think a win is on the horizon for Crew Halliday.
Well, but let's just see what he can do, because like the lap times now are quite slow. They're 109. If he can get into 108 flats, which is possible,
and the more these two carve each other up, it's going to bring Crew Halliday back into the equation. And I'm pretty sure that's one thing that Troy Herfoss and Mike Jones don't want to have to deal with on the last lap, is a rampaging Crew Halliday.
Absolutely not. But I mean, it is a big gap. It's 1.8 seconds. But if it is a possibility, it's not like he has to do a 105. He just has to do 108 flat.
And these two run each other wide in a corner or two.
Yep.
And Crew Halliday is going to be back in the equation. That was a clean line through that corner from Troy Herfoss. I think he's put the hammer down now and knows that Jones is there and that he means business trying to get a race win.
Well, Jones's strongest part of the circuit is actually the final turn, which is a very good place to be strong. We've seen it a couple of times where he's lined him up. He gets good drive onto this short straight, then heads into that Ducati corner. And then by the time he's exiting gets that power on, he's spinning through there, gets the Pirelli spinning up towards that start-finish line. He can do it. If it's going to happen, it's going to be that final corner.
Well, last lap for Troy Herfoss and Mike Jones as they get around Michael Edwards there just as they made their way down towards turn 1, the Alpine Stars corner. Jones is back on the inside at the fastest corner on the track. He's going to lead them out onto the back straight for the final time. It is going to be a Herfoss challenge on the brakes. It's going to come at the end of this straight. He's in the slipstream is Troy Herfoss. Jones pulls to the inside. There's no room down the inside for Troy Herfoss.
He's going around the outside.
He's going to get try the late apex and then turn on the inside. He can't do it because Jones's line once again is impeccable. It's going to have to be turn 4 or turn 6. There's only 2 options left for Troy Herfoss. Is he going to go early or is he going to go late?
He's got to go here. And there he goes up the inside. He's made the move.
Jones has run wide.
He's made it.
Jones has run wide on the entry into the corner because he knew that Troy Herfoss was coming through, whether he was
it's not over yet. Look at the drive that Jones has got. He's up the inside again. Herfoss has got to block it, but he can't.
So
up the inside, he's going to go up the inside, he goes up the inside. Look at that, what an incredible move by Herfoss. It's not over yet.
That's what he predicted was the late double shuffle, and it's Herfoss. He's just going to get there. He's just got there, Steve Martin, in his 100th race for Honda. Troy Herfoss takes the win. It's his second win of the year.
End of the day.
Oh, and his second ever win at Queensland Raceway. As Troy Herfoss takes the win by 0.056 of a second over Mike Jones, and Crew Halliday claws his way back onto the podium, 1.6 seconds behind the race lead, but a great result for bike number 65. Josh Waters makes it 2 fourth positions at the most difficult track for that team of the year in 4th place. Glenn Allerton comes home in 5th. Max Stouffer, another 6th place for the young rider on board bike number 27, starring Ted Collins, Ant West and Matt Walters round out the top 10.
Yeah, Michael Edwards a lap down but still finished in 11th position. Michael Kemp was out there too after the crash he had earlier on. In 12th, 13th, Brock Pearson. He finished even though he had a crash. Paris Ardwick, well, he ran off a couple of times, didn't he? But got to the end, and Scott Lars rounds out that top 15.
What a race it was. Herfoss made his move early and we had a massive battle, but here was Troy Herfoss. On the last lap, he slowed down to try and take in the victory. Crew Halliday came up next to him. Looked like there may have been some contact, and Crew Halliday has unfortunately gone down. And Josh Waters there right on the scene to make sure that Crew was okay. The good news is that he's back to the medical area as Troy Herfoss waves to the crowd with a very excited fan there in the AMX Superstores podium area. Championship points after 2 exciting races here at Queensland Raceway shows Josh Waters on 160 points. Troy Herfoss has now closed that gap down to 18 points. Remember, it was 35 points coming into this round. Crew Halliday in 3rd place on 115, tied with Glenn Allerton in 4th place. Mike Jones on 104 has surged his way up from 8th place coming into this round. Ted Collins in 6th, Brian Starring in 7th, Brock Pearson in 8th, Arthur Cece's in 9th, and Matt Stouffer rounds out the top 10. Down to Kate at the AMX Superstores podium.
Mike Jones, P1, another wild battle to the end. You did not make that easy for Troy Herfoss.
Yeah, look, it was P2, but, you know, it's close enough. I mean, we were so close all race that it was just so awesome to race that close with Troy. It's been a long time since we've been able to race like that. But, yeah, certainly here it was fantastic and, you know, great entertainment for the crowd. Having the home crowd here cheering us on was really, really cool. So, stoked again on the start, got to the lead and then, yeah, just tried to manage it from the beginning, but it was actually a little bit more difficult to go fast then. The track felt a little bit more greasy and the wind had picked up a little bit, so it was quite tough, but yeah, nonetheless, it was on the limit completely once Troy made the pass and then we're just, yeah, ding-dong passes from then on till the end.
Apologies, P2, not P1. You had some great words there with Troy after the race, so you've got such good camaraderie together.
Yeah, look, Troy's really great. You know, I think for him, it's awesome to be up racing again at the pointy end. So obviously he's really happy, and that makes it easy for us to get along.
All right, thanks so much, Mike. And in the official P1, Troy Herfoss, a perfect weekend for you. What a statement for your championship campaign.
Yeah, it's very rare you can set out for something like that and succeed. I haven't had many perfect weekends in my entire career, so. And it's just the style I love to race in. Like I really enjoy the battles, and I know Mike does as well. And that was so good. I mean, the first race, honestly, I was really nervous, and because it's a long road to a championship, and I don't want to throw it away. And but in that race, I felt really comfortable, but the lap time wasn't coming, even for Jonesy. And I could tell the conditions weren't the same, and when I hit the front, it was really tough, and I could tell it was tough because they weren't passing me, even though the lap times were slowing. Anyway, the gloves came off at the end as always, and hey, for the first time, Jonesy said he would never touch me, but I felt his leg touch my bar, so he's getting more and more confident, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the battles to come.
Such good entertainment for us. Thank you for the show.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at the calendars coming up, because the ASBK calendar, we are 3 rounds down. We've finished at Queensland Raceway for this year. The next round we move on to Darwin's Hidden Valley Raceway, the 16th to the 18th of June. Then it's the run home, Morgan Park Raceway, just down the road at Warwick in Queensland, the 14th to the 16th of July. Phillip Island Grand Prix Circuit, the 27th and 29th of October. And the Ben Motorsport Park for the traditional end-of-year grand finale, the first weekend in December, the 1st to the 3rd. That's going to be a great round to decide who our 2023 ASBK champion will be. Australian Off-Road Championships round 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 have already been done. The next round, 5 and 6 at Edenhope in Victoria on the 22nd and 23rd of July. Then it's round 7 and 8 at Keaton in South Australia, the 26th and 27th of August. Round 9 and 10 at Kyogle in New South Wales, the 16th and 17th of September. And the final 2 rounds at Dungog on the 14th and 15th of October. Pro MX Championship as well. The next round, round 4 at Maitland on the 6th to 7th of May. Then we've got round 5 at Gilman in South Australia on the 28th of May. Round 6 is Toowoomba in Queensland, the 25th of June. Round 7 at Queensland Moto Park, and you may very well see Troy Herfoss out there racing on the 13th of August. Round 8, the final round at Coolum on the 19th and 20th of August. Of course, for more information, go to promx.com.au. Of course, this broadcast is in memory of Warren Monson, a well-known figure in the ASBK and Speedway paddocks. We send our condolences to Warren, his family and his friends. Well, that's it for Queensland Raceway. The next round of the 2023 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships is from Darwin. We'll see you there.